Watch and burn.
Hey everybody, so tonight I am looking to discuss the 1993 film California. I mean, I always thought this movie came out around 97 or 98. I had this framed in my head as one of the movies that Duchovny did when he was trying to break away from the X-Files and he was trying to get a movie career going. I know that he did make the movie Evolution, which was hilarious, but it failed. And I had always had this one sort of attached to that, as in one of Duchovny's attempts at making it big in Hollywood once the X-Files had become the massive success that it had become. But no, this movie came out in 93. The X-Files began in 93, and I don't think David Duchovny was a big enough name yet to try and conquer Hollywood. I mean, at this point, Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis weren't even that well known. So, and yes, this movie stars Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis and David Duchovny. And what it tells the story of is David Duchovny and his girlfriend by the name of Brian and Carrie. She's a photographer. He's a writer who is attempting to write a book about serial killers, mass killers, spree killers, and then he wants to go to the places where they like operated out of, like they're like, you know, the building where so and so buried the bodies and the place where so and so shot and killed all the people. Duchovny wants to go there. Brian, sorry, wants to go there, and he wants to document them like in person. And so him and his girlfriend, Carrie, they decide to get a couple people to come with them for the road trip to California in order to pay for some of the gas, because they do some of the driving, and that way they don't have to offset some of the costs, because that way they don't have to pay for everything themselves. And that's how they meet Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis, by way of, oh God, Brad Pitt's name is Early. Early, like as in early in the morning. And Juliette Lewis's name is Adele. And they are, well, Adele's adorable, but she is so abused and controlled by Early that, you know, she's barely a person. She's barely alive. And essentially, in a lot of ways, they're playing the same characters, Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis. They're playing the same characters that they played earlier in a movie called Too Young to Die, which was based on a real story about a 16-year-old girl who helped her older boyfriend kill this dude, and she was sentenced to death. Now, of course, she was since released, and the boyfriend is still rotting in prison, of course, because he was the puppet master. Brad Pitt plays essentially the same character in this that he played in that, as well as the same, like I said, so does Juliette Lewis. Now, that's not saying that their performances in this are stronger than they were in Too Young to Die. I think Too Young to Die was a made-for-TV movie, as a matter of fact. Well, anyways, it doesn't matter. And this movie is set up like, so David Duchovny, Brian, is going out to find these places where the serial killers operated, and then he picks up a serial killer psychopath by way of hooking up with Brad Pitt early. Except the thing is, this movie checks all the boxes for being vicious. Brad Pitt is ruthless. He kills everybody. Fucking the guy in the bathroom, he just demolishes him, grabs his knife and just sticks him like in the throat like 30 times with the thing. And all the while, he is abusing and controlling. Like, he's a piece of shit concerning how he treats Adele. Like, he just gets the urge to cut her hair, so he cuts all her hair off. And he doesn't like it when his woman drinks or talks too much or does this and do that, does this and that. And so she always has to kind of be walking on eggshells around him because of how controlling he is. And then at one point, Adele and Carrie are talking, and she reveals to Carrie that she was the victim of a gang rape, and that she sees Early as her protector because he wouldn't allow something like that to happen again. And it's like this movie is properly ugly, but I don't buy Early as a serial offender, like a serial killer, and apparently, too, at the end of the movie, it's suggested that he rapes Carrie. And again, see, like, the movie is vicious, but I just don't feel it. It's like Early isn't a psychopath. He comes off as just more your run-of-the-mill kind of gas station robbing sort of, he'll shoot you for your wallet type, but not the methodical, maniacal psychopath that's out there hunting humans by way of a Ted Bundy or a John Wayne Gacy. He just feels like more of like your run-of-the-mill scumbag. And I don't know, just something doesn't connect. You know, something just doesn't feel as vicious as it should, even though, like I said, the story is locked in. Early's a bad dude. Like, some horrible shit has happened to these characters in the past. And I mean, I know this movie was going for like a Seven vibe, even though Seven hadn't been released yet. But nevertheless, I know that this movie was going for more of that more hardcore sort of thriller killer thing. But no, it just kind of feels like a road movie with a guy who likes to kill people. And he just doesn't feel as, as his ability to do evil, doesn't feel as monolithic as it should. It isn't as overbearing. It's not like you're riding in the car with like Scarier from No Country for Old Men. He scared the shit out of me, and early in this scares me too. But he's just more like that average sort of lazy, selfish, slightly violent redneck kind of way. So I just had a hard time getting on board for the violence that was contained in here because it didn't feel right. I mean, Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis's performances are amazing. Brad Pitt never misses. Okay, I love that man. Christ, I just want to look like him. But he never misses. And in this, he's like on fire. Like him and Lewis's performances are the thing that make this movie so worthwhile. But I don't know. And the movie ends like an episode of The X-Files where like Mulder is recounting the events. And that's exactly what happens. They relocate to a beautiful sort of oceanfront property, Carrie and Brian, in Malibu. And it ends with him saying, I see the evil in man now, and I understand the such and such and the so and so. And again, it doesn't feel like the proper end to a movie. It just feels like Mulder summing up what happened in the end of an episode of The X-Files. And David Duchovny was sort of miscast in this. He just wasn't, just too, I don't know. He's just too much like Mulder at this point, which I don't think he really had any other choice because at this point the X-Files had just started. And prior to that, David Duchovny was just another nobody in Hollywood. But I don't know, there's something about this that just doesn't click. Something that just doesn't come off, and it's not as vicious as it should be. It's supposed to be like Natural Born Killers, but it's not. You know what I mean? And again, this came out before Natural Born Killers, but you know what I mean? It's supposed to have that sort of like wild and out of control vibe, but it's not there. Even them going to the serial killers' locations and that could have been done more evil-like, and it should have had a greater sense of like something more nihilistic because, they were destroying themselves in the process. They just didn't know it yet because they were there with early. But I don't know. This movie's a mess. It's Dominic Sena's first film, for what it's worth. He did Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage. I love that movie. It's so much fun. But yeah, I think that's actually where I'm probably going to leave it. I mean, yeah, that's where I am leaving it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little over 8 minutes while I discussed the 1993 film Kalifornia. Like always, if you like this review or you like this movie, don't forget to go out and do something nice for somebody. But most importantly, like always, never forget that the world kicks so much more ass because you are in it. I am getting out of here. Don't give up. It will get better. You guys are amazing. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.